Hi guys, happy Saturday. So, alright, kind of a traditional witchcraft, kind of just plain paganism and just festivities all around. So, yeah, this is kind of, well, no, actually, no. The next festival would be Lupercalia, so that's what I really want to talk about. I really think it's amazing and it's fun, and if you do watch The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, that is pretty true, what they do, so except for the ritual sacrifice, but way back then that's what they did. So a little bit of history on Lupercalia, which I'm really excited for. And I really want to participate literally in the literal sense of how they used to, except for minusing the sacrifice. So I think it'd be really interesting. So Lupercalia, it is still an ancient pagan festival held every year in Rome on February 15th. So, although Valentine's Day does share its name with a martyred Christian saint, some historians believe that the holiday is actually an offshoot of Lupercalia, unlike Valentine's Day. So, however, Lupercalia was bloody, violent, and sexually charged celebration, awash with animal sacrifice, random matchmaking, and a coupling in the hopes of warding off evil spirits and infertility. So, literally, making love on the earth to increase fertility of the earth. That's what they believed. Don't know if I want to do that. Might be a little bit too cold. So Romulus and Remus. So I love this. So no one knows the exact origin of Lupercalia, but it's been traced back as far as the 16th century BC. So it's pretty ancient. According to the Roman legend, the ancient king Amulius ordered Romulus and Remus, his twin nephews and founders of Rome, to be thrown into the Tiber River to drown in retribution for their mother's broken vow of celibacy. Wow, that's a harsh punishment for taking on the punishment for your parent. No, I'm glad we're in 2020 almost. So a servant took pity on them, however, and placed them inside a basket on the river instead. That'd be nicer. The river god carried the basket and the brothers downriver to a wild fig tree, where it became caught in the branches. So the brothers were then rescued and cared for by a she-wolf in a den at the base of a Palatine hill, where Rome was founded. So, the she-wolf. So the twins were later adopted by a shepherd and his wife and learned their father's trade. So after killing the uncle who'd ordered their death, they found the cave den of the she-wolf who'd nurtured them and named it Lupercalia. So it's thought Lupercalia took place to honor the she-wolf and please the Roman fertility god Lupercus. So I like the she-wolf idea. I mean, that does play a very big integral part in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So you do actually see the she-wolf, and it is actually Nick Scratch's familiar. She took him in when he had no parents. Yes, hinting right at this history. And nurtured him and brought him and raised him as her own. And then she got jealous of Sabrina and tried to kill her. So that you can see the history. So I'm very glad that there's actual history in that. I love that. Now the ritual sacrifice, though, today, yeah, literally we can do anything but that. I mean, you don't want to do that. We have sacrificial items, representations, the Holly King, the Winter King dying, and all that. So the Lupercalia rituals took place in a few places: Lupercal Cave on Palatine Hill, and within the Roman open air public meeting place called the Comitium. So the festival actually began at Lupercal Cave with the sacrifice of one or more male goats, a representation of sexuality, and a dog. No. So the sacrifices were performed by Luperci, a group of Roman priests. So afterwards, the foreheads of two naked Luperci were smeared with the animal's blood using the bloody sacrificial knife. The blood was then removed with a piece of milk-soaked wool as the Luperci laughed. Now that is also in the tradition in Sabrina. So you see the baskets that are made up, anointing baskets, and they have to do the blood on the forehead, and then they have to laugh when they take the milk-soaked rag and wipe it off their foreheads. So, I mean, that's there. The goat, I don't think that was in there. I don't think that was in there at all. So, I like that, though. I do like that. That's really, really neat. And then they laughed, so it's just really neat. So, and then we have the Feast of Lupercalia. So feasting began after the ritual sacrifice. When the Feast of Lupercalia was over, the Luperci cut strips, also called thongs or februa, of goat hide from the newly sacrificed goats. So then they ran naked, or nearly naked, around Palatine, whipping any woman within striking distance with the thongs. So many women welcomed the lashes and even bared their skin to receive the fertility consecration. So it's open to speculation what the lashes represented. So that was not in Sabrina, but still, what do those represent? During Lupercalia, the men randomly chose a woman's name from a jar to be coupled with them for the duration of the festival. So often the couple stayed together until the following year's festival. Many fell in love and married. So I think that's pretty interesting. And then if you go to Sabrina, that's kind of, with the weird sisters, it's just not too, what's the word I'm looking for? They stay together. So, Nick Scratch and, Sabrina. So over time, nakedness during Lupercalia lost popularity. The festival became more chaste, if still undignified, and women were whipped on their hands by fully clothed men. So it's evolved from this ancient pagan festival, but I still think it's amazing. Now we have Saint Valentine. So, now there are several legends surrounding the life of Saint Valentine. The most common is that on February 14th, during the 3rd century AD, so AD, Anno Dominic, after Christ. So a man named Valentine was executed by the Roman Emperor Claudius II after being imprisoned for assisting persecuted Christians and secretly marrying Christian couples in love. That's different. Well, it was a pagan land, so of course, what do the Christians do to pagans and witches? So it's kind of like a role reversal here, which I agree with. So as the story goes, during Valentine's imprisonment, he tried converting Claudius to Christianity. So Claudius became enraged and ordered Valentine to reject his faith or be killed. So he refused to forsake his faith, so Valentine was beheaded. Alright, legend also tells of another story that happened during Valentine's imprisonment after he tortured a girl named Julia, the blind daughter of his jailer. The legend states God restores Julia's sight after she and Valentine prayed together. On the eve of his execution, Valentine supposedly penned a note to Julia and signed it, "From your Valentine." Alright, so the Valentine's Day cards, the hearts, it all makes sense now. So some historians believe that more than one man named Valentine was executed by Claudius II. So, despite the ambiguity surrounding Valentine and his life, the Catholic Church declared him a saint and listed him in the Roman martyrology as being martyred on February 14th. Okay, so so he was made into a saint. He evolved into a saint because of him not giving up his faith as a Christian. So so that's the only reason that they actually, built him up to sainthood. No other reason. I wonder how people become saints. I don't know how they become saints. It's very funny that the church has to decide who's a saint and who's not, who's going to be raised to saint status and who isn't. I think that's very, very funny. Kind of a little suspicious. Now, we have origins of actual Valentine's Day. So thanks to St. Valentine's reputation as a patron of lovers, he became synonymous with the romance. So in the late 5th century AD, Pope Julius the First eliminated the pagan celebration of Lupercalia and declared February 14th a day to celebrate the martyrdom of Saint Valentine instead. Although it's highly unlikely he intended the day to, commemorate love and passion, because that was totally, against everything that they stood for. Yeah, no love, no passion, unless you're married, which is stupid. So, in fact, some modern biblical scholars warn Christians not to celebrate Valentine's Day at all, since it's thought to be based on pagan rituals. Well, then I think that every single Christian should abandon every single holiday. Christmas, Easter, Samhain, all of it. So, it's true, Valentine's Day used some of Lupercalia's symbols, intentionally or not, such as the color red, which represents a blood sacrifice during Lupercalia, and the color white, which signified the milk used to wipe the blood clean and represents new life and procreation. So, that's very interesting. We can do a lot with this. Just this little bit of information. We can do our own ritual, just for fertility, for love, and just to empower ourselves. I think it's amazing. And the horn, the sacred horn that you blow, yes, that signals the beginning of Lupercalia. So I love my horn. It's very difficult to get it to sound, but I mean, it doesn't have the mouthpiece, so it's just, I'll show you guys in a sec. Alright, so like many ancient traditions, there's a lot of haziness surrounding the origins and rituals of Lupercalia and how they influenced Valentine's Day. So Lupercalia is no longer a mainstream public celebration for obvious reasons, but some non-Christians still recognize the ancient event on February 14th instead of Valentine's Day, and they celebrate it in private. It's perfect. I mean, obviously you can't go out into the woods. I mean, you can if you're, somewhere. But yeah, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't do that. But I think that's great. I really think that's great. So, let's look at this. So yes, the sounding of Lupercalia, the horn, literally. It's very hard. So this is Jewish. This is a Jewish tradition. So you can see it's a ram's horn. It's a real ram's horn. And it's got some pretty interesting markings on it. I mean, it looks like Hebrew markings. It really honestly does. And I don't know if it is or if it's just the nature of this specific piece. I think it's just the nature of this specific piece. Could be. I'm not sure. Those look like Hebrew. I mean, I have Hebrew on me. Written on me. So, I mean, you can see some of the symbols, how they're up here. Especially some of these right here, they look like the ones on Baphomet's pentagram. So it's really interesting. I mean, and then you have to... It's really hard because it doesn't have the mouthpiece. So you actually have to try to find one with the mouthpiece, and then you... So yeah, you have to... It hurts the lips. But this is a very sacred object, and it gives off so much power. It gives off a lot of energy, and it's just incredible. So yeah, if you guys want to do like a Lupercalia-esque ritual for Valentine's Day to celebrate, the earth and, fertility and love and passion and, empowerment for ourselves, let me know, because we haven't done a group ritual in a long time. So, and if you have a couple, if you're with somebody, invite them to do that with you. So, but yes, alright guys, I will see you all tomorrow for Sundays with Satan. I love you all very, very, very much. Thank you guys for watching. I love Lupercalia, I don't know why, so I love you all very much. I hope you guys have a very, very, very happy new year, all the way from Venus, all the way back down. And yes, gained like 5 more pounds, so. Alright guys, thank you for watching, and I love you all very much. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.